Watch out, Twitter. Former President Trump is preparing to launch his own social media platform. Joe Biden capped off a terrible week by tripping up the stairs on Air Force One. Plus, even Bill Maher calls out the woke left on division and segregation. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with former President Trump because, as we all know, he's not going anywhere. He's planning to be actively involved in the upcoming elections. He's speaking out against Joe Biden and his America Last policies. Plus, he's also looking to make a social media comeback. So let's start first with the activity in the elections. We know President Trump has been active. He's already made endorsements. Well, Jason Miller, a 2020 campaign advisor to President Trump in the last election, he was on Fox News and he was talking about these endorsements and how President Trump's endorsement is still the biggest item around. And here's Miller.
I believe since January 20th, when President Trump left office, he's already had over 20 senators, over 50 members of Congress either call or make the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to ask for President Trump's endorsement. His political endorsement is the most important in world history. There's never, ever been this type of endorsement that's carried this much weight.
Miller is right on the mark with that statement. Never before in Republican circles has a person carried so much endorsement power, so much endorsement weight. There is absolutely no doubt that President Trump is going to be a huge influence in the 2022 elections and beyond. People are coming to him. People are visiting him. People want that endorsement. And here's more from Miller.
Coming up this week, I think you'll see a couple of incumbent senators who are endorsed once again. But really importantly, pay attention to Georgia tomorrow on Monday. There's a big endorsement that's coming. It's going to really shake things up in the political landscape in Georgia. It's big. It's coming tomorrow. And just be sure to tune in.
So pay attention to Georgia. That's what he says is coming. That's what he says is coming today. So that was Miller on the elections. But the big news is President Trump making this social media comeback. And if you recall, President Trump was like the first one to really embrace. Barack Obama was on social media, but as far as reaching the people directly, President Trump redefined the mold. Twitter and Facebook, he was active, especially Twitter. They banned him both. Facebook and Twitter permanently banned former President Trump from their platforms. And Twitter was his gold mine. That's where he bypassed everybody, went straight to the American people, talking and promoting his policies, blasting the Democrats and the media and rhino Republicans. He got his message out. But with this ban, I'm sure that Twitter thought, man, we blocked him. He's just going to go away. No such luck, folks. He's planning to make a comeback, and it looks like he'll be launching his own social media platform.
I do think that we're going to see President Trump returning to social media in probably about 2 or 3 months here with his own platform. And this is something that I think will be the hottest ticket in social media. It's going to completely redefine the game, and everybody is going to be waiting and watching to see what exactly President Trump does, but it will be his own platform.
The hottest ticket in social media. That sounds good. That sounds cool. Now, Howard Kurtz over at Fox News, the guy who was running the interview, he asked Jason Miller a few more questions, pushed him on this a little bit more, saying, you know, if he does this new platform, he's going to be starting from scratch. He's not going to have instantly 80 million Twitter followers like he did. So what's going to happen? What comes next? And here's a reply from Miller.
Well, I can't go much further than what I was able to just share, but I can say that it will be big once he starts. There have been a lot of high-powered meetings he's been having at Mar-a-Lago with some teams of folks who've been coming in. And I got to tell you, it's not just one company that's approached the president. There have been numerous companies, but I think the president does know what direction that he wants to head here. And this new platform is going to be big, and everyone wants him. He's going to bring millions and millions, tens of millions of people to this new platform.
This is awesome news, folks, and there are a lot of alternative platforms out there that we need to support. Some are gaining traction, some are falling by the wayside. Parler, as we all know, was one of the ones that was really growing, really exploding. I was on it, it was growing like crazy, and then Google and Apple and Amazon came in and shut it down. How will a Trump-backed social media platform do? Do you think it can escape the grip of big tech? Do you think it could be successful? Would you sign up? Let me know in the comments. All right, so next we're going to talk about Joe Biden's week. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 150,000 subscribers, and we can do it with your help. All right, in case you missed Saturday's live show with our special guest, Sam Sorbo, it was awesome, by the way. You can check it out right there at that link. We did a recap, a weekend review, extended weekend review of Joe Biden. And I want to just touch on some of the highlights in case you missed Saturday's show. Number one, it was just a terrible week. Issue after issue after issue. We'll start with the border crisis. It is so bad. Here's just one example. The busiest sector along the southern border recorded over 10,000 illegal border crossings last week. Over 10,000 illegals trying to cross the border in 1 week in one sector of the southern border. And that is directly due to Joe Biden's policies. He is the one that is basically saying, we're not going to enforce anything, come on over. And it is having an effect. Just yesterday on ABC News, as the Daily Caller reported, an illegal alien was interviewed saying, hey, yeah, if President Trump would have been there, I wouldn't be coming.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, the same violence that is going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
See, there's no doubt that Joe Biden's policies are causing this surge, causing this crisis, and Americans are paying the price. So that's the border. Then there was the meeting with the Chinese officials and the American delegation, and the Chinese absolutely schooled Joe Biden's team. They don't respect or fear the Biden administration at all, and here's the story. On U.S. soil, the Chinese mocked U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Many people within the United States actually have little confidence in the democracy of the United States. Top Chinese diplomat Yang Jiechi told the Biden administration, citing the Black Lives Matter movement, there is absolutely no cultural equivalence between the civil unrest within the United States and China's outright human rights atrocities. The Chinese are literally rounding up ethnic minorities and killing them in concentration camps. Yet the Chinese spoke to the U.S. as if they were the moral authority and dominant world leader in front of the press for all the world to see and on U.S. soil. So let me say here that in front of the Chinese side, the United States does not have the qualification to say that it wants to speak to China from a position of strength, Mr. Yang said. Wow, that's bold. The U.S. is not speaking from a position of strength. Can you imagine that if President Trump were still president? But no, Biden is in there and they're taking their chances. They're pushing him. Russian President Vladimir Putin, he jumped at the chance to blast Biden, kind of make fun of his mental status and challenge him to a live debate. Then also last week, once again, Biden has problems with Kamala Harris, referred to her as President Harris again. So then to top off his week, hoping to get home, he had his problems on the stairs of Air Force One. All right, so there goes Joe Biden. He's had this crazy week. We got border crisis. We got China. We got Russia. All he wants to do is get out of there. Just a few steps to go. Let's get going. There he goes, up the steps. Whoa, it's a little windy. Uh-oh. Whoa, there's one. There's two. There's three. He's down. He is down. Uh-oh. He better use two hands. He better use two hands for the rest of this. Man, what a week Joe Biden has had. Let's give a little salute. There he goes. All right, let's get out of here. Wow, what a mess. And what's interesting is that Joe Biden actually made fun of Donald Trump, of President Trump, when he was walking down an icy ramp, when he was slow walking it so he wouldn't waste himself. Joe Biden can't even go up a flight of stairs. It's absolutely outrageous. All right, so next, let's talk about Bill Maher, because every now and then, yeah, he's a far left liberal wacko, but every now and then it's entertaining and interesting to see when the radical left pushes things so far that even people like Bill Maher have to speak out and take notice. And that's exactly what he was doing. He's speaking out about this woke left cancel culture. On his program the other night, he was noticing that the left is what is driving these changes in America that are actually leading to a return of segregation. And here's the story. HBO host Bill Maher suggested that the United States is entering an era of resegregation that's coming from the left during a Friday night real-time conversation with Democrat data scientist David Shor. We seem to be entering an era of resegregation that's coming from the left, Maher said, responding to a comment by Shor about the geographic sorting of liberals trending to urban areas. I mean, on many college campuses, there are separate dorms, separate black dorms, graduation ceremonies, stuff like that. How will that affect elections in the future? Well, I think this will have a tremendous impact on future generations. People that grew up in my generation were taught the great American melting pot, a colorblind society. Come together, judge people on merit and not race. But the left keeps pushing this division, this racism in everything. A rock can be racist, according to the left these days. They've overplayed their hand, and Americans are getting sick of it. And I think this will be a big, big deal in future elections, and this pushback against the cancel culture. His guest, David Shor, appeared to agree. I think just to go back, I think that the most important thing is to just realize that most non-white voters are not liberal, Shor said. They don't identify as liberal. We should take that really seriously. Realizing that most voters don't share our values means that we should try to meet people with values that they actually hold, and we should talk to them about issues that they care about. In an interview with The Intelligencer last week, Shor warned Democrats that Hispanics' liberal views on immigration may be exaggerated and that extreme views from the left could push more Hispanic voters away. Yes, it will push Hispanics away. It will push everyone away. American people are sick of this. They want the great American melting pot. If people come here, we want people to be Americans. There is a such thing as an American way of life, an American culture, American values. Just like there's a French culture or a British culture, there is an American culture. If you come over, we expect you to love America and be Americans. But the left, they want division, they don't want unity, and Americans have had enough. All right, now let's go to an example. Let's go to an example of this woke left cancel culture that has become so radical, and it has to do with critical race theory. Now, what is that? Critical race theory is what's being pushed in companies. I've done stories about it that basically says, if you're white, you're no good. You're no good at all. You're a racist just for being white. It doesn't matter if you know it or not. Doesn't matter if you say anything or not. Doesn't even matter if you think about it or not. You're a racist. That's what's being taught. Now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has said critical race theory has no part in Florida schools. We will not embrace that at all. It's not going to be taught. So good for him and good for Florida. But that's Florida. In Virginia, it's another story. It is being taught. It's available in the curriculum. And one county in Virginia is saying that if you don't embrace it, if you talk about critical race theory, these teachers are going to call you out and try to cancel you, try to go after you. And here's the story. A group of teachers, both past and present, in Loudoun County, Virginia, compiled a list of parents believed to disagree with the school system's teachings of critical race theory with the intent to infiltrate, use hackers to silence communications, and expose these people publicly. Beth Bartz, a former educator elected to the school board in 2019, expressed her concern over the anti-critical race theory movement in a post. I wanted to share that I'm very concerned that the anti-CRT movement is gaining support. Bartz wrote to the anti-racist Facebook group on Friday. She said she hoped to call out statements and actions that undermine our stated plan to end systemic racism. This is just crazy, folks. This lady is concerned that parents are speaking out against critical race theory, that they're not buying into this left-wing radical narrative that says all white people are bad, and if you're white, you're racist, even if you don't know it, even if you don't think about it. Well, someone replied to her, another supporter, saying, hey, you know what? Let's go after those people that are speaking out. Let's get them. Let's cancel them. And here's more. Gather information. Community mailing lists, lists of folks who are in charge of the anti-CRT movement, lists of local lawmakers, folks in charge. Infiltrate. Create fake online profiles and join these groups to collect and communicate information. Hackers who can either shut down their websites or redirect them to pro-CRT anti-racist informational pages. Spread information. Expose these people publicly. Create online petitions. Create counter mailings. Find a way to gather donations for these efforts. Volunteering is great, but these activities can be costly, and not everyone has extra funds readily available. This is happening in America, folks. The left have controlled education for so long that it is now integral in the system. Kids are getting fed this from kindergarten through 12th grade in our universities. You know how far left that is. We need people, we need conservatives running in school boards, being educators, changing the course, because the left just wants to divide. They want the chaos. They want the division. They want arguments, because with each of that, it destroys the fabric of America and they take control. They're making everything about race, and they're happy to do that because as people are talking about race, they're out destroying the country. That's what they're doing. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.